Federal officials say today that the United States could see above normal activity this year as the Atlantic hurricane season is heading into its peak months. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration today updated its seasonal forecast, predicting a 60% chance of 14 to 21 named storms with winds 39 miles per hour or higher. Of those, 6 to 11 could become hurricanes, including 2 to 5 major hurricanes that reach Category 3 or higher with winds of at least 111 miles per hour.
This is the end of the beginning. Welcome to today's show. This is a really important time to be covering all these topics because weather warfare is about to ramp up. I've covered it so many times over the years with so many of these storms, obviously everything going on in Maui, but this is all control, right? So we're under attack from our own government, right? We're under attack from our own government, yet they're blaming it on Mother Nature. Do people not understand this? If our own government was rolling down the streets with tanks, the armed people in this country would unite. Now, we might not stand a chance against the military's technology, but there would be some type of a quote-unquote uprising. But when they blame it on Mother Nature, nobody sees it. So right now we're seeing them use direct energy weapons to create these fires like they've done in the past, like they did in California. They've done it in other countries as well. But they're going to do more of these. But now, remember, we're in mid-August. We're going to be rolling into September. And you'll see more is coming because they're telling us more is coming. They're telling us, forecasters are warning, a change is coming, that massive hurricanes are coming. So they can hit you with their direct energy weapons, right? Blame it on the climate. Tell us that, well, the climate's starting wildfires, right? So people are like, oh boy, it's so hot, right? Because we keep hearing how hot it is. So people are just naturally, they have that planted in their head. So they're not questioning what's going on over in Maui. Then you get the other side of it, right? I've shown the videos even recently. I put all those clips in, right? Talking about, cloud seeding, geoengineering, Disney talking about, hey, Operation Popeye. Hey, we could control hurricanes. We could steer them here. We could steer them there. This is in the 60s, right? Telling us they have the technology to steer hurricanes away. But why would they do that? Because that wouldn't benefit them. They need to destroy everything and rebuild it. They need to get everybody into their controlled prison cities because they want to enslave humanity. And people don't realize that's what they're doing. They're just completely distracted by the nonsense they hear with Trump and Biden and the laptop and this and genders and, oh, can you men have baby? It's completely laughable. You know, if I was wicked and one of them and I was in the CIA or something, I'd be laughing that people are actually buying this stuff. Instead, I'm on this side, the side that's trying to fight against them, and I'm just cringing at the stuff I see. I'm just shaking my head. I can't believe it, and I'm angry by it. But those people are cracking up. They're like, we could just have Biden show up in a clown outfit on national TV, and nobody would think that this is a show. They'd still believe it. I mean, they have actors showing up at all these events who are laughing when their kids perish all of a sudden, and still nobody questions it. So they know they can get away with whatever they want at this point. So they are laughing at everyone. So now they're coming out and telling us to be prepared for more destruction because of the climate, of course. Now people are getting ready for more states to get wiped out via hurricane. And of course, that means the East Coast. That means places like Florida. And that can go all the way up to New Jersey, right? And we've seen this, right? And we've also seen Texas. So we're going to see stuff off the Gulf. We're going to see stuff off the Atlantic. And this is done by design. They're doing this by design. They want to destroy everything, and they're going to blame it all on the climate, okay? So here's the story. Record high ocean temperatures all of a sudden. I don't know. Has anyone put their feet in the ocean this year? Didn't feel too hot. But of course, record high ocean temperature. I mean, no, people will hear that and they'll be like, wow, the water's really hot, and the water's like 50 degrees. But because of the mind control, they'll think it's hot. They don't even understand how the mind works and how they can manipulate the mind so much that they can think something's happening when it's not. And that's really what's happening around us, right? So they're telling people the ocean is at record high temperatures. Feels pretty normal, if not cool, you know? If all of a sudden the ocean in like Maine or like New Jersey, the Jersey Shore, if all of a sudden there was bubbles coming out of the water and it was like 160 degrees, all right, maybe I'd be a little suspicious, but I've actually felt the water this year. It doesn't feel too warm to me, but okay, record temperatures are setting the stage for an active Atlantic hurricane season with explosive tropical development. But just one thing is missing: storms. There have been no tropical storms in the Atlantic basin in nearly a month, And none so far this year have come close to the U.S. Well, that's because you start in September. We all know that. We follow your schedule here. But the busiest stretch of hurricane season kicks off in less than a week. And with ocean heat running high, experts are urging people to get their safety plans in place and prepare for tropical trouble that could start within the next couple of weeks. So a growing expert consensus is now forecasting an uptick in hurricane activity. An updated outlook from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration on Thursday called for an above-average hurricane season, an increase from the near-normal forecast it released in May. Well, of course it is, because it's climate change. It's convenient, right? Yeah, blame it on the climate. Crank it up. Crank up HARP. Crank it up. Get it ready. Unbelievable. We have increased the chance for above-normal activity to 60% from 30%. Matthew Rosencrans, led hurricane season forecaster with NOAA's Climate Prediction Center, said in a news release, the chances of a below normal season are now at only 15%. So I guess it's pretty safe to say, I mean, of course, and their forecast machine, right, which is even more hilarious. You can't, let's say you can't predict, you can't control Mother Nature, but they somehow know weeks in advance what the weather's going to be. Oh, yeah, right, because they control Mother Nature, right? Does anyone see how this stuff works? Oh, man. So let's see. The forecasters are leaning on several factors, but also an exceptionally warm oceans, which provide storms the fuel needed to explode in strength and even undergo rapid intensification. NOAA said sea surface temperatures were warmer than anticipated and a major factor in increasing the odds of an active season. Considering those factors, the updated outlook calls for more activity, so we urge everyone to prepare now for the continuing season, right? Nobody's suspicious. All of a sudden, look at what just happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right, with the outbreak. Now this. Is anyone suspicious? They have this thing in place, Agenda 2030, which you could look up, which they openly talk about. They openly discuss it, right? But before that, for about a 15 to 20-year stretch, nothing went on. From the 11th of September, nothing was going on. There was no problem. There's barely hurricanes here and there. Now every year, the last 3 years, massive hurricanes in and out. But now all of a sudden, this new agenda, part of the whole agenda plan, the new phase right now is the climate phase. And nobody's suspicious. No one's going, my life feels very interrupted all of a sudden. It was never interrupted like this before. Never. But if they could realize that the boogeyman is their own government, the boogeyman, Russia, Afghanistan, the climate, the outbreak, boogeyman, 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 government. Boogeyman equals big brother, global government, right? They hide in the shadows and then they blame the shadows. Because if people figured out who it was, there'd be a problem. Because there's a lot more people in the world. A lot more. Now, they have, again, trained super soldiers, a trained military, more technology than any of us could ever have. But they also want to herd people, right? So back to the story here. They conveniently know in advance, letting you know, of course, more sigil magic, more predictive programming, that it's going to be one of the worst hurricane seasons ever. Just wiped out Hawaii. Now where are they going to wipe out? What are they going to wipe out? Florida? I mean, Florida's been reeking of a honeypot. Florida and Texas, very red states, right? What are you going to wipe them out? And then what? Who's going to step in? Let me guess. Elon Musk will step in because he's conservative. Bezos stepped in for Maui, conveniently, smart city. Musk can step in. One of these guys, right? Musk could just say, hypothetically, step in for Florida or Texas and offer $1 billion to rebuild it, right? With smart technology. See how this works? Always under the guise of philanthropy, of course. It's unbelievable to me that people can't see this. It's unbelievable to me that there's people out there that are like, these people are conspiracy nuts. The real issue is that we're not conspiracy nuts. You're just not thinking. You're just not connecting the dots. You don't realize that this technology exists. They've already told us that it exists. They've told us that direct energy weapons exist. They've told us that HARP and all this stuff exists. Operation Popeye. This is all documented by the government. This is public information. This is stuff you can find in government archives. They don't hide it. So the issue is what? You can't wrap your head around the fact that they would do this to us? Why? Look at what the supposed history that we know about Rome, about other empires. What do they thirst? Control over the people, power, money, everlasting power in their minds, but that only belongs to Christ. But in their minds here on earth, right? But what, all of a sudden, humans have changed. The people with all the money and resources have suddenly decided, oh, we love everybody. We don't want to rule over them or do anything over them. Those people back in the Roman days were vicious. Oh, okay. Right. They've just suddenly changed, right? People, these are all people who are related to the same people anyway. They're all part of the same bloodlines, right? Then you have the predictive programming of things like Hunger Games, right? It's right in front of everyone. You can't believe that people would be this wicked because you're caught up and you're divided into, oh, well, Trump could be this wicked and Republicans can be. And then they're like, oh, well, these people are wicked. Joe Biden's corrupt crook. They're all corrupt crooks. They hate all of us. They hate every one of you. You look at what happened in Maui. What's unbelievable about it is you might say, well, Hawaii is pretty liberal. Right? Well, why would they do that to a place that's liberal? That's what some people have said to me. Why would they do that to a place that is liberal? You think that they give a crap about people who support them? Do you think they care? They're like, well, we shouldn't do it to a blue state. Why wouldn't they do it to a blue? What do they care about you? They don't care if you're a woman, if you're gay. They don't care at all. At all. They're psychologically, I want to say a different word, but I'll say controlling you. That's what they're doing, and hurting you, and they will hurt you, and they are already. So we can expect this now because they're telling us that, right? We can expect storm after storm after storm up the East Coast. Wouldn't surprise me if New Jersey was a target, right? They targeted it with Sandy Hook, but didn't get it done. The Carolinas. It's not just going to be Florida. But Florida will be hit. We all know that. And people just are so conditioned, like, well, Florida always gets hurricanes. That's not necessarily true, actually. Just recently, they've been drilling Florida and Texas more than ever. If you actually look at history, that's not true. But they're so desensitized now, they're just like, oh, it's hurricane season. What's the big deal? Florida always gets hurricanes. And it'll be another and another, and they'll just keep wiping out places like Fort Myers over and over. Oh, Myrtle Beach. Oh, okay. It's all going to get destroyed. It's all going to get destroyed via weather manipulation, direct energy weapons, and things that you can't actually see with your own eyes. Because again, if they came down the road with the tank and started shooting people's homes with the tank, well, first of all, people would get united. They wouldn't be like left, right, who cares? They'd be like, what is going on? The dummies would be like, what's going on? They'd need people like us to explain. But we'd explain and we'd say, look, they're plotting to kill all of us. See them with the tanks? I don't care what you are. Let's unite against them. I don't want that. They want you divided so they can destroy all this stuff with their technology that somehow people believe doesn't exist when it's existed for a long, long time. I've shown all the video clips of Kennedy and other people about weather control, weather manipulation. Well, what do you think that means? Does anyone think? They're like, what? Oh, they can make it rain? Oh, well, yeah, they can make it rain. And then you keep hearing about droughts. You question why they don't stop droughts? Huh? Oh, they can control the direction of storms. Why don't they? Oh, look at all this uptick in tornadoes. Nobody's suspicious that tornadoes are popping up in places like New York and New Jersey. Nobody's like, what? Tornado warnings in those states? When does that ever happen? I thought they were only in like Oklahoma. Oh, and then Oklahoma and these places are getting like 12 tornadoes, and they're wiping out cities and towns, right? They're wiping it all out. The phoenix rises from the ashes, right? Look right outside of the One World Trade Center. When they did that, what did they build there? Oh, the Oculus. What was that? Oh, that was there's the phoenix rising sitting right there, rising from the ashes. That's what this is. Destroy, rebuild. That's what they're doing. And it's an enslavement system. So be prepared, folks. Hurricane season's upon us. Just letting you know, don't be suspicious. Don't be worried. We told you in advance that this is going to be bad weather. So you shouldn't be suspicious about it because they told us. And of course, it's climate change. So don't leave your home and enslave yourself. Unbelievable, folks. It's in full effect. Reminder to sub to my other channels now if you haven't yet. It's very important that you do because I have a strike here. I won't be able to upload for 2 weeks if I get another. And then, of course, my channel will be terminated, which that's never happened before. I can't even keep up. It's driving me insane. But make sure you sub if you haven't. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.